The following excerpts concerning Raphah's discovery and translation of the original scriptures have been taken from the original scriptures website. Keep three things in mind as we go through these excerpts. First, remember that extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. Second, not one bit of evidence, photograph, video documentation, independent verification, etc. has ever been presented to anyone concerning these facts. Third, this entire story has been validated by only one individual, its author, Raphah Bethyah, also known as Raphah Bethyah. Ralph had given a member of his group, who was in the process of translating Ralph's English translation of these supposed scrolls into Spanish, this photograph, which he then forwarded on to me. Ralph told this individual that 1. The photograph is of the 1,930-year-old original scriptures. The text is not like any other ancient text. The language is different from regular Hebrew and Aramaic. The grammar is unknown. There are new letters, including the olam as well as dots, in the text that are not found in any other script. The text is written on ancient vellum. While all of this sounds very mysterious, it is nothing more than smoke and mirrors to hide the truth about this photograph. Anyone who has experience with ancient Hebrew manuscripts will quickly recognize this text for what it is, a very poorly written forgery. However, for those who are not experienced in ancient Hebrew manuscripts, I will explain how this can easily be proven. It is difficult to exactly determine the writing surface of the ROS, or, as Ralph calls it, the restored original scriptures, from a photograph, but it certainly is not vellum or animal skins, due to the presence of bands of varying colors. This also does not appear to be ancient papyrus, as the lines of the different layers of plant material is usually well defined, such as can be seen in this 1,900-year-old letter from Simon Bar Kokhba. Because papyrus is made from plant material, it discolors and breaks down over time, but this is not evident in the ROS photograph, indicating that it is unlikely of ancient origin and appears to be modern paper parchment simulated to look like papyrus. Pens of the ancient Near East were made of reeds. The tips were thin and wide, which gave a calligraphy style to the letters. Notice the varying thickness in the lines of the letters in this text from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now look at the text in the photograph of the ROS. Each letter is uniform and thin and could not have been written by an ancient Near Eastern scribe, but is instead most probably written with a ballpoint pen. Ancient Hebrew scrolls, especially for those that were to be used for holy writings, were first inscribed with evenly spaced lines in order to assist the scribe in keeping his lines of text vertically and horizontally straight. The ROS does not use these lines. Instead, The lines begin unevenly and do not follow a straight line and would never have been done on a scroll of such importance. The ROS text is written with no spaces. It is a common held belief by many that Hebrew was originally written with no spaces or breaks between words. This is a myth, and it appears that the writer of the ROS believed this myth. Prior to about 600 BC, words were separated by dots, but from about 600 BC to the present time, words have always been separated by spaces. The ROS text does include dots, but ironically, these dots look just like periods. Periods did not exist in Hebrew manuscripts until very recently, but interestingly, all of the dots in the ROS are in the exact same place as they appear in modern Hebrew Bibles. This section of the text includes 3 dots and reads, "You shall not kill, period. You shall not commit adultery, period. You shall not steal, period." The script used in the ROS is Paleo Hebrew, a common writing style from about 800 BC to the 1st century AD. While each individual has his own writing style, the characteristics of the letters remain the same. This is true for us today as well as for scribes 2,000 years ago. For the most part, the Paleo Hebrew alphabet is very consistent in how the letters are written. The Paleo Hebrew in the ROS is similar to the Paleo Hebrew of the 1st century, but there are a few major differences that cause one to question the knowledge of Paleo Hebrew by the one doing the writings. The Bet, Kaf, Lamed, Nun, and Pei are similar to Paleo Hebrew, but vary just enough to question the text. The Shin is the style used in square Aramaic script, or modern Hebrew, and would never have appeared in a 1st century Paleo Hebrew text. In one instance, the Shin includes the dot over the left leg to represent the S sound, but this dot was not invented until 1000 AD. The ROS includes a title that is centered at the top of the page. No Hebrew manuscript, except in modern times, include titles. The first letter in this sentence is supposed to be the letter Bet and is written as such, but looks very much like a modern Hebrew Bet, rather than the Paleo Hebrew Bet that is used in the rest of this text, such as at the end of the title. In addition, this letter includes the dagesh, or the dot, which is a problem as the dagesh was not invented until around 1000 AD. The Hebrew of this title is gibberish. They are Hebrew words, but it is very easy to see that the writer of the text simply pulled the Hebrew words out of Strong's dictionary, not realizing that Hebrew grammar uses prefixes, suffixes, and infixes very frequently to convey specific grammatical concepts. The title is supposed to read "The Covenant of the Words of Yah's Love," but in Hebrew this would be written like this. The text in the ROS begins with Exodus chapter 19 verse 25 and continues through all of the 10 Commandments and is copied straight out of the Codex Leningrad, but is clearly done by someone who cannot read Hebrew, as there are many obvious mistakes that could only be made by one not familiar with Hebrew. One common error in the ROS is the omission of letters and words. An example can be found in Exodus chapter 20 verse 2, which has the word marim. This is an obvious misspelling for the word Mitzrayim, which means Egypt. The name Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, or the Tetragrammaton, its divine name, appears several times in the text. However, in one place, Exodus chapter 20 verse 7, the Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is misspelled as Yod-Wah-Heh, missing the letter Hey. Another common error in the ROS is the complete omission of parts of words and even whole words. An example can be found in Exodus chapter 20 verse 1, which reads in the ROS like this, which is again gibberish, until we add the missing letters and words as they are found in the Codex Leningrad. Exodus 20 verse 4 is particularly troubling as it duplicates words, omits words, and places some words out of order. All of these errors, when combined, render the text almost completely unintelligible. Now let's go back and look at each of Ralph's claims about this photograph. The photograph is of the 1,930-year-old original scriptures. This is not true, as we can easily see that this was written recently with a ballpoint pen by someone who can't read Hebrew. The text is not like any other ancient text. Also not true. It is merely a copy, and a poor one at that, of Exodus chapter 20, as found in the Masoretic texts such as the Codex Leningrad. The language is different from regular Hebrew and Aramaic. Again, not true. It is Hebrew, the same Hebrew we find in the Masoretic text. The grammar is unknown. The grammar, excluding the errors, is the same grammar found in the Masoretic Hebrew text. There are new letters, including the olam as well as dots in the text that are not in any other script. There are no additional letters, only the same letters found in the Masoretic text, and the dots are not special letters, but are in fact periods. The text is written on ancient vellum. This is not only wrong, it is ridiculous. When I emailed Ralph my skepticism about the text, he responded back with the following.